Hi everyone, so welcome to Investing for Value. So whether you win or you lose, you're going to learn something. Of course, when you lose, you definitely did something wrong, so you definitely know you can learn something. But when you win, what happens? Well, you can always retrace your steps and kind of go like, throughout that process, did you do something that you can repeat? Because of course, when you win, there's kind of an element of luck or there's good timing sometimes. So it just depends, or just you're in the right market. So it's a matter of what worked out, what didn't work out, what was beyond your control, and that's why I want to talk about my recent like kind of win, because I kind of think like if I talk through my experience, maybe you guys can relate to that experience and you can kind of like go like if you're faced with this kind of dilemma in the future, you already know how to act. So like Beyond Meat, like a lot of you will know this company. This is a company that came onto the market and did really well. It's kind of like skyrocketed to like close to $200, but then it just came back down, and it kind of like hovered around the 70s, like for the last 3 months. And then recently it's just done really well. And then I kind of saw it just kind of like it had a bit more momentum in it. The McDonald's contract had kind of like gone to another stage, and I wanted to buy it earlier, but I kind of had a bit of hesitation. So when you have a bit of hesitation and you kind of miss the initial start, well, it's not too late to get in. It's kind of like if you kind of miss like Tesla at $200, it was okay to buy at 300, and if you missed that 300, it wasn't actually that bad if you bought at 400, right? Of course, you need to do the valuations and make sure you aren't paying too high of a price. So I kind of looked at the Beyond Meat kind of valuation, and at this kind of pricing, it was kind of looking at about a $6 billion company. So at 6 billion, I thought, well, yeah, why not? It's not too bad. Like for me, fair value is around 5 billion, so I'm paying a little bit of a premium, but I was prepared to wait, and stay in there for long term and see how things work out. Of course, stock just went through the roof again, and I kind of had to reassess my situation in less than a week because I brought on the 9th and I basically sold on the 14th. Um, so when I consider the situation, I sold because it had gone from about less like around about 6 billion valuation to 7.5 billion valuation, and at the 6 billion, it was already a bit of a premium for me. So when I was faced with this issue, for me it was kind of like a clear kind of decision to just take the money. It was very tempting, and also when you're at 52% gain, it's something that you kind of just think, actually, if I just took the money and I can repurpose it, then why not? And also, anything that goes up really quick, you got to be prepared that it's going to come back down pretty quick. Like it's one of those considerations. Of course, sometimes it could be a sustained like level of growth, but I think usually if it's like a company that's not justifying its valuation or it's pricing too much success, then you got to reconsider. And I kind of think that was like, at this pricing, it's already pricing quite a bit of success. Like even at this pricing, it was already pricing it for success. But here it's definitely pricing for like a real good upside. And I couldn't justify it. Whenever you can't justify price tag, it's always you got to reflect and go, should I sell some of it? Should I sell all of it? It's kind of like a risk kind of adjustment that you need to make to just protect yourself and your portfolio, and also to take some gains off the table. So for me, I made a decision, and it's kind of been a good decision because right now the share price is $109. So in hindsight, it was a good decision, but at the time, I was just thinking, while I'm sitting on a very large gain, for 6 days holding, I'm never going to get a gain like this in many stocks. So I took the gain, and it turned out to be pretty good. And that's kind of like what my thought process was. And also, even though I got this gain, I kind of have to look at it as being it's very abnormal. Like for the time frame and the gain, it was absolutely abnormal. It was just very well timed, and it was very lucky that the market was actually doing really well at that time. It still is. Don't get me wrong. It still is. So a lot of stocks are quite highly valued, including this one, even at 109. Like never mind that 131. So when I look at that, I kind of see like this is a one-off gain that is really good, but I can't expect this. Like I can't expect the 52% gain in this type of time frame. Normally, I'm looking this at a 12-month time frame. So like when I go into a stock and I'm looking at 50%, I'm going, is this possible? But of course, if you get it earlier, then maybe you just reassess the whole situation, and that's kind of how you go about it. So like, when it's kind of like when you get a gain like this, you kind of just want more of it. So like, but the fact is, when sometimes they're just one-offs. Like you gotta just revert back to the normal scenario. I can't go like, oh, this was a really good gain. I need to find something that has just as quick or just as big of a gain. You can find something that has, a good gain, but it might take a bit longer, of course. So that's kind of me trying to relay like what my thinking process is, like why I brought it, why I sold it, and was this kind of a really lucky gain? Yeah, I think it kind of was. Like markets currently are doing really well. Like if you looked at my previous video on like Smile Direct Club, that did really well. Like, it was rising pretty quick, but I explained the reasons why it was rising because it's kind of gotten quite a few deals, and for that value, it was pretty low valued. So it did pretty well off Smile Direct Club 2, Beyond Meat, and we're on the January, so I'm having a marvelous period in my like investing. But of course, the thing is when things are going well, we kind of look at the whole situation and go, okay, this feels normal. But the thing is, like, it might not necessarily be a normal situation. So, like, if things are going well, always prepare for things to not go well. So, like, for me, when I was looking at this, I'm going, okay, things are going really well right now. So I had to prepare for a situation that it won't go well. And that's kind of thing that I want you to go into stocks having a mindset of, like when you're buying a stock that's really going well, it's great, but you also have to consider what you would do if it doesn't go well. And that's kind of like the exit strategy. Protect yourself before you need to be protected. And it kind of just lowers that pressure, lowers that stress that you need to make those really critical decisions. So, like, let me know if you actually brought Beyond Meat as well. Like, I'm sure a lot of people did, and everyone's kind of made a really good gain out of it. Of course, like, you got to look at your process and go, why did I buy? Why did I sell? And, is this a repeatable strategy? So, like, can I repeat this? Like, yes, I could possibly repeat some of it. I don't think I can repeat the time frame. Okay, so I can still repeat that I saw a stock that's got good announcements, that has momentum going in its favor. Its price is rising from, usual cases, like this stock kind of just like stagnates. And in the minute it starts rising in like another like a high for the last few months, then it's kind of like showing some good momentum. Of course, you need to go like if you need other deals for the company that's gonna do well for it in the future. So with Beyond Meat, like that McDonald's deal is gonna look really good once they get the global deal. So I think I can look at that and I can go to another stock and go, is the same thing happening again? So that's kind of like a recipe for success that you can take with you. But and in with the selling part, I think it's also the similar thing. Like you look at the valuation, and you go, like the stock's gone high, but is it going to justify what's going to happen in the future? Like if I brought here, and in 12 months later it came to here, I probably consider just keeping the stock because it's probably done a lot of things to justify this price tag. But the thing is, I brought here, and 6 days later end up here, so it didn't justify. Like there was no financial results that came out that justified this price tag. So that's why I kind of like sold out. So like when you buy a stock, you got to go like how much time has passed. Was it any financials or deals that kind of justified this big difference in pricing? And for me, there wasn't enough difference in that pricing to justify that. We knew the McDonald's deal was there. We knew they had a lot of other deals going on. And we already know what their financials are and what their financials might be in next year or whatnot. So that's kind of like me working through this process and going, what can I learn? What can you learn? And then going, if we take this process, we can learn from it. And also, it kind of just helps us set ourselves mentally and go, if these things happen, what would we do? And also, like if you make a really good gain, it's kind of like having a really good high and then going, well, it's very difficult to go back to 10 or 15% gains after that. Like, still, they're really good. 10-15% gains can do good, 20%, 30%. So you just have to readjust and go, what's realistic about the companies that I'm investing in? Of course, I invest in high growth companies, so like getting 50%, I kind of expect to get that. But of course, not in this short time frame. Like when I invested in Beyond Meat, I thought maybe in 6 or 12 months' time it would justify this price tag. Obviously, it's moved really quickly, so it doesn't justify this price tag currently. But of course, you may have a different opinion. Let me know what your thoughts are. Like, have you ever had something like this happen to you in like such a short time frame? Uh, and would you have any other strategies that you would like recommend or anything you learn from this? All right, so I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I hope you learned a bit, or I hope it was like interesting just to hear like someone just earning like that in 6 days. Well, I hope that happened to you, and well, good luck investing, everyone.